Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something slightly different. We're going to talk about language in dance. This is a very important subject because it is important to create inclusive environments in dance studios where people feel comfortable and can express their best dancing self. As many of you know, my background is in ballroom and Latin dance. I started dancing when I was 3 years old and I competed for many years and I achieved quite a good level indeed. I loved dancing. It was really challenging and really an awesome activity that helped me build my strength. However, when I turned 21 after I finished my uni, I decided to move to London to expand my horizon and approach choreography from a different perspective. I wanted to learn different styles, I wanted to be more open-minded and have a bigger landscape of movement vocabulary that I could access. I worked as a dance teacher and choreographer for many years, also after moving to London. I worked as a choreographer for TV. I had been teaching a lot of wedding dance, I had been teaching competitors, all kinds of people. And throughout the time, I also did some research about what aspects can be tweaked in ballroom dancing to make it more inclusive, to make it more welcoming for all types of people. Seeing the industry of dance sport from the outside allowed me to see what are the main issues. Let's say, first of all, that the technique is really amazing and it is really hard to dance well ballroom and Latin. There are many books that explain in detail every movement, how it needs to be done, and this takes hours and hours of practice to achieve. However, just as important are strict heteronormative gender roles that sometimes are not for everyone. There may be people who do not identify with a man or a woman. There may be people who don't feel that feminine or masculine necessarily, but they still love the dancing. So how can we make them feel welcome in our dance studios? It is a very important subject. Traditionally, ballroom dancing was born as an activity in which a man and a woman start dancing together socially. But if we look at the origins of this dance in Latin America, for example, it is very common that two men dance together or two women dance together.
And anyways, as much as tradition matters, evolution is inevitable. The priority should be for dance to change and adapt to today's people and society, rather than, an argument that I've heard many times, for the institution of dancing to remain unchanged, perpetuating the idea that this is how it's done, and the people who want to do it should understand that. To be honest, this is just a recipe for disaster.
Another issue is the one of bodily autonomy. Teachers too often feel they have the right to touch their students wherever they want. The male partners feel that they have the right to touch their partner however they want. This is not to be taken for granted. Many times people may not feel good in being touched in a certain way or in a certain moment. However, this doesn't seem to be of concern for many teachers. It seems to be so obvious that as you go to a dance studio, you will be touched to learn how to move better. And it can be a little frustrating for people who come from different environments where this is not indeed the norm. Moreover, sometimes the value of beauty is more important than the value of dancing or the value of movement. This is something also that we need to move away from. We need to accept that beauty should not be judged together with the dancing. The performance is a body performance, is a movement performance, not necessarily a beauty context, but that's how we seem to approach it. These are only some of the issues, and I have no intention in this video to cover all of the aspects about the judging, about the competitive set and settings, and so on. I'm just willing to see if we can, with some small, tiny gestures, improve our teaching and the inclusivity in our dance classes. So, let's see how to do that. Okay, the first tip, very simple, it's about the language we use when we teach. As some of you know, when we talk about ballroom and Latin dance, we have a leader and a follower. We can use these words rather than man and the lady, or the man and the woman, or the male and the female dancer. Leader and follower are still problematic words because they still imply a hierarchy where the leader is dominant and the follower is submissive. However, they are still better than just saying man and lady. because at least they include everyone and they refer to particular parts that are described in the mechanic of the movement. In Italian, we can simply say chi guida e chi segue. It's not a problem, it's not that hard. We can do that. Like this, everybody will feel included. Secondly, it is important to try and implement bodily autonomy. How do we do that? We can just simply ask. Let's ask our students, would you feel okay if I showed you how to move this body part by touching you? Would you feel okay if I put my hands on your back to make you feel how the Cuban motion should be done? While doing this, we should not take for granted that the person feel comfortable saying no. We have to make sure first that they feel comfortable saying no, and then we can maybe ask nicely. I'm sure this is not the solution, but this is a step towards the solution. The third thing that needs to be taken into account is to avoid using metaphors that objectify either of the dances. I have personally experienced this. I was compared to many things throughout my career, but I'm just gonna make a few examples. There used to be a teacher that would say that me and my dance partner are like a Ferrari. He is the engine and I am the bodywork. While this may be a metaphor used to just explain the mechanics, it is quite harmful to the listener because it seems that the value of me as a female dancer is just about my beauty, how I look, how I present myself. And this sort of doesn't give credit to all the hours that I practiced my movements so hard to become good at it. Another metaphor that I've heard a lot was that I should be like a butterfly and try to have no brain, just be carried around the dance floor brainlessly. This is also not a very useful thing to say to a girl, especially while she's growing up, because she has to feel that she has the right to have her own thinking and to have her own ideas, and maybe they may be even better than the one of their partners, who knows. So of course, maybe in that moment the leader is deciding where to go, but if she feels like this is not the right place, maybe she should say something. And also, let's avoid all the princesses metaphor. Dancers are not princesses. Girls are people who work really hard to achieve what they achieve and to dance the way they do. So let's celebrate that. Let's make them feel good about what they can do with their bodies. These seem to be innocent comments, but they're not. In fact, over time, they may affect one's perception of themselves. They may affect their self-esteem, their feeling of entitlement and power over their own life and thoughts and words and movement. And it is very important that we validate each and every one of our students' feelings and thoughts and words when they come in the dance floor. We shouldn't really put a hierarchy. It's not that the male words are more important than the female words, or the leader than the follower, and so on. We're getting to the end, but two more things. Let's avoid objectifying language. This means saying things such as put her there, call her to come close, turn her, spin her, close her, and so on. She is not a doll to be carried around, pulled around, bent and stretched and do whatever we want to her. No, she is a person. So let's avoid all of that entirely. We have some examples on YouTube that are pretty impressive, I think. Now, I know that for ballroom dancers, this is very normal to hear, but I am sure that from some other people that are not from the ballroom dance world, they will be a little weird to listen to.
Two. Now, I've got her there, and I let her breathe, yes, because I want her to get curves. And now I want her to come towards me. Go over there, darling. And that is where you are. And then I say, okay, I'll close you. Yes. And I do that with my physical lead, right? Create the delay of the woman. Run away a la mana. And she can go away again.
I am pretty sure that this super amazing dancer didn't need him to close her or to do the delay for her. I'm pretty sure she trained well enough that she could do all of these things by herself. What do you think?
I have put the link in a comment too. And the last tip Very simply, avoid complimenting on beauty only. Let's praise the good technique. Let's praise the movement. Let's praise the velocity. Let's praise the sharpness of someone's movement, the strength with which they do it. Let's just leave the beauty outside of the dance studios if we can. Okay, these are only a few of the tips that I wanted to share with you. There will be many more videos about this as well, because I am really interested in trying and making the dance studios a better environment. And I think how to improve my teaching every day, and I catch myself making mistakes all the time. That is okay, but it is important to put under a lens the things that we just keep doing without giving much thought, if they affect maybe the people in the long term, you know. We want to avoid trauma, we want to avoid people leaving dancing because they don't feel welcome. And we want to really let the dancers express themselves without any restraint. Thank you very much for following. I would love to hear your opinion. I would love to hear if you heard any weird comments from your teachers or from your dance partners. Just let me know, and I'm always willing to listen to more stories and come up with more ideas. So let's do this together. Thank you very much. Follow me on Instagram. My name is Giulia Settomini, Giulia with a G, GiuliaSettomini, on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you very much and enjoy a good day.